Let's start our session without any further delay. Okay, two more people will join. Okay, so let me share my screen. Already on the recording. You guys let me know if my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, great. All right, guys. So what I'm going to explain today, because we have a basic or detailed discussion about that single pass architecture with the parallel processing. And also we understand about the different type of the packet flow architecture along with the single pass architecture with the parallel processing. So at least we have the good understanding about these all things. So now I'm not going to talk much about the theory stuffs. Now we are going to talk about the practical things. So I'm just going to explain about the interface type configuration. Later we'll discuss about the configuration management, licensing. Already we had done the initial system configuration where when we have the day zero firewall and I want to do the configuration, then how it is going to be look like. So that we already done. So now I'm going to discuss about the security zone, and along with the security zone, I will discuss about the interface type. What is the interface type and why this is going to be required? So we'll try to understand that all, right? So any question in the previous session? Anyone have anything?
Sir, I got what is parallel processing, but single pass architecture was a little bit.
Okay, no problem. I'll explain. So single pass architecture, that means when the packet is, I just given the example, single pass means the packet is going to pass in one go. So let me go down. I'll show you the diagram. So you can see this is the packet. Okay. So this packet having the more informations means inside of this packet, we have the more packets means more information. But this packet is going to pass one time through this particular scanner. So this is a single pass. So your packet is just going to process once, means the packet is just going to pass this particular architecture one time, and your scanners, which are going to be applied in different directions, they are going to put all their actions in a one go. So that means you just have to travel this box one time, and then after it is going to be scanned and it is going to be out from that particular scanner. So this is a single pass, means your box is going to mean bigger box is going to pass one time, but they have the parallel actions, means multiple scanner is going to do the multiple actions. Clear?
Yes,
Mathu?
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now let me discuss about the zone. What is zone and why this zone is very important? And then we'll discuss about the different interface type. So anyone know what is a security zone in the Palo Alto Firewall? Any idea anyone have?
Intranet, extranet zones.
Okay. What others? What is security zone? Any idea? Means what is zone? Why we use the zone?
So, it's a kind of virtual interface where we add the physical interface, something like that.
Okay. No problem. Sayed Amol, you guys have anything to say? What is a security zone?
Grouping interface into particular zone like LAN zone or DMZ or WAN,
Okay. Very
and
nice.
Or
applying the policies according to that zones.
it's like in Cisco ASA, we have security this thing numbers like for Ethernet 0, which is connected to WAN, which has less security, and the trusted interface, which is the LAN, has more security.
Means
So
higher
it's
security zone, lower.
security level kind of.
Yes, higher security zone, lower security zone, right? And
Right.
accordingly, the packet flow action is going to be happen. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, guys, good. So at least you guys know about zone. That's fair enough for me because you all are here for learning. So in Palo Alto, the zone concept is little bit different than whatever zone understanding you have from the past, different other product like Cisco ASA, Fortinet, or might be the other vendor firewall as well. So one thing you have to note down, and that is a very important, any interface, if you are going to configure in the Palo Alto, any type of the interface. So interface could be your layer 2 interface, layer 3 interface, VLAN interface, right? We have the tap mode interface we are going to discuss. We have the vWire interface, and we have the sub interface. And also we have the loopback interface. So these are the different, and also we have the tunnel interface. Means majorly we are going to use these all interfaces. So some are the virtual, these all are the virtual interface, right? We call as the virtual interface. Even the VLAN is going to be part of this virtual interface. Any interface, if you are going to create in the Palo Alto Firewall, every interface you must have to define a zone. This is the one thing you have to take a note. Means zone is always going to require on every interfaces, except the interface which type is HA. Means any interface which type is HA, high availability, that do not require a zone. So you guys have to write this down, okay, in your note. Means any interface I'm going to create, either layer 2, layer 3, VLAN, tap mode, vWire, sub interface, loopback, tunnel, anything, they always going to require a zone. So this is the first mandatory thing in the Palo Alto Firewall. Okay. Now let's talk about what is zone. So exactly will do all the deployment. You can see in the PPT also. So we have the all different interface. I have layer 2, layer 3, virtual wire, tab, sub interface, and also we'll see HA in the last section. See HA here. So I'll explain HA later on. But what is zone and why this is very important in the Palo Alto Firewall? So if I talk about the zone, so zone in a Palo Alto Firewall is a system. If you just go and read the technically like in documentation and all, so it is going to define a zone is a process where we can logically group the physical virtual or might be the physical interfaces, or it is just going to logically segregate the demarcation point of any physical and logical interfaces, so that by default your traffic will not process from one zone to another zone if their zone name is totally different. So basically it is just going to give the zero trust policy. What does mean? It's a little bit technical, but if I want to understand the layman language, then what does mean? So let's suppose this is my firewall. Okay. This firewall might be, I have this interface. Let me just use this firewall have this interface and this firewall have this interface. So might be this interface going to belong to the LAN zone, but this is going to belong to the some different zone like the trust zone. So if you want to make any kind of the communication from this to this interface, by default, this will not possible. The traffic is going to drop by the Palo Alto firewall. But let's say suppose this interface also a LAN zone. Okay. In that case, they will talk without any issue. So in Palo Alto firewall, it is just logical grouping of your physical or your virtual interface, which is going to act as a segmentation of network, and they will control your traffic flow. So zone type could be your layer 2 zone, could be your layer 3 zone, could be your tap mode zone, virtual wire zone, right? So we'll discuss what does that zone is going to be look like. In addition of that, zone name could be anything. Means you can define the zone as per your convenient. Even I want to define the any name, random name, it is possible. But it is recommended whenever you define the zone, that should be logical, means it's meaningful. So you can understand. So in this topology, if the traffic is going from LAN to WAN, so I'll give the LAN zone. This is going to WAN zone. This is going to trust zone. This is going to be untrust zone, like that. So at least I can identify which zone where traffic is coming and where traffic is going. Let me give one more example. So let's suppose this is the one big house or big office. In this office, they have the multiple department. This is my IT department. This is my HR department. This is my sales department. This is my marketing department. And this is again marketing department, right? This is my HR department. This is my IT department. This is my sales department. So in this office, we have the multiple department. You can see that. But let's suppose you have some sort of the requirement where you want to talk from IT to sales. So if you want to talk from IT to sales, it is technically not possible. This is not possible because might be you want to visit from this office to this office. So this is not possible because this door is only going to open for IT people. This door is only going to open for the sales people. So you are not allowed to go from IT to sales. This is the by default nature of the any office scenario. But it is not a case you cannot go that. You can go that, but you require the additional permissions. By taking the additional permissions, you can go that. But let's suppose this is the HR people and he want to visit the HR team. So they can easily travel from HR to HR department because they belong to same department. So might be this department having a 30 seat capacity, this having a 30 seat capacity. So already 30 people are here. So he want to sit, he can just visit the another office. Means other building, other block like that. So easily he can or she can just travel from one building to another building without any problem. So this is how they are going to communicate without any problem. But IT can IT talk, but if I IT talk want to talk with the sales, this is not possible. Okay. So what does mean if my zone is same and I want to make communication, by default it is allowed. If my zone is different, if my department is different, I want to talk, by default it is blocked. If I want to allow, I have to do some additional actions. Do you
If
guys
the
understand?
traffic is one question.
Mm-hmm.
It thinks that if the traffic is flowing from one interface to other interface, which is in the same zone, will this firewall inspection will be applied there? By
Technically,
default?
in every traffic event processing from same zone to same zone, inspection is there.
Okay.
But in this inspection, everything is allowed if the zone is same. So there is like everything is by default allowed. Means there is a LAN zone and want to talk with another interface which are the same LAN zones. You can see these are two LAN zone. If they want to talk by default, they are going to talk without any problem. Because everything is going to allow in a default policy. But if you want to change the behavior, if you want to change this behavior, it is possible. You can override the predefined behavior of the default rule. There is a one default rule where everything is allowed. You want to change, override, you can do that, but that is not recommended. What we can do that? You can create LAN to LAN new policy. LAN to LAN new policy. In this new policy, you can do inspection or controlling as per your requirement. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll see how it is going to happen. But one thing means if this is my firewall, let's suppose this is my firewall. This firewall having 4 interface. This one having this network. This one having this network. This one having this network. And this one having this network. So this is my Ethernet 0 by 0. This is my Ethernet 0 by 1. Ethernet 0 by 2. Ethernet 0 by 3. So these are the four different interfaces. But if this is zone is a LAN and this is zone of the WAN and this is zone of the LAN again. So if these two want to talk, by default firewall will allow the communication. But these two network want to talk, by default firewall will block the communication. This is my DMJ. So this will also block the communication. So any zone which is the same, right? They are going to talk, but if my zone is going to be changed, the communication is going to be blocked. Everyone clear? So this is the concept of the zone.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have the very small lab where we have to test this zone and also we have to do the layer 2 deployment. So what is a layer 2 deployment? Layer 2 deployment is simply my firewall is going to act as the layer 2 switch. Means what is the layer 2 switch? Means let's suppose this is my switch and I have two PC. This is my PC A and this is my PC B. And if they are in the same network, likewise 10.10.10.10/24, this is 10.10.10.11/24, they will by default communicate if they are going to belong in the same VLAN. Let's suppose this is a VLAN 10, this is also VLAN 10. So they are going to act as access port and switch will just allow the communication because they are the layer 2 communication is going to happen. But let's suppose this is not a switch. This is another firewall we have, which is just going to act as a switch. So in this our scenario, what is happening? You can see, I just connected my firewall with the one switch, and then after switch we have the PC. This is another switch, and after that we have the PC. So technically, they all are going to stay in the same VLAN. And if any communication is going to happen from this PC to this PC via layer 2, this firewall is going to process the communication. One scenario will check when the zone is going to be same, then how the traffic is going to process. And one scenario going to change my zone and still they are in the same subnet. Then we'll see how my traffic is going to be processed. Okay, clear to everyone what we want to achieve? So let's start doing our lab. So basic thing, how you can access the lab. So you must have all this lab access. You just open this browser and first you have to, after opening, you just have to open this lab. There is a lab already available. You can see in this section. So this is the lab I am doing, interface layer 2 mode. So I simply click on it, open this lab. Okay. After opening, you turn on the firewall and make sure like you might be having a 10.0 firewall version or 9.0 firewall version. So the UI user interface is going to be changed. 10.0 is the new version. And even we have the more version after 10, 11.2, we have 11.2, something H3 also we have that version. So I'll show you later stage how it is going to look like. Even I can show you right now if you guys want to see that. That is 136, if I'm not wrong. What was the IP? Let me check the IP. Give me 1 minute. Let me check the 11.0 firewall IP. So system interface. So system info 136. Okay, so IP is correct. Let me type it again. I need to put HTTPS. Probably I forgot that. See, so now if I'm logging, this is my latest firewall 11. Let me. Oh, see why it is not logging. Okay. So this firewall is getting ready. So you can see this interface is like yellow and white. But right now I'm going to log in to just showcase like basic things via the 9.0 firewall. So once you just start this firewall, you just have to double click on it. You just going to get this window. Okay. You just press enter. So you get the username and password to log in this firewall. So by default, this username and password of this firewall is the admin and admin. So what do you have to do that? You just have to put first time username and password admin, and then it is going to ask you to change the firewall. It means password of the firewall. So let me put admin and admin. Then after it will ask, you have to enter your old password and you have to change your password. So I will enter my old password again and I'll put my new password. Likewise, whatever you give, like whatever your name, like Amol at the rate 16, Amol, or like they might be Sayyed at the rate 21. This kind of the password you can give after changing the password. So they have the special character numeric and your capital letter, small letter also. So they will just going to take that password. So this firewall is taking a lot of longer time. It will ready after some time. So now we are good with the firewall. So how you can log in this firewall? So you have to check first what is the IP address of this particular firewall on the management interface. So just go there and check the source system info, and you will see this is the IP address. By default it is getting from the DHCP server. So from this PC you have to log in. So you just click on this PC, put the password 123, and you guys have to log in this firewall from this PC. Let me show you. And you want to just change the resolution, you can do the resolution changes as well. So I'll just go here, screen resolution, and I'll just change it. And then after, you just check here, right? Just go in the CMD. And this PC also have the same subnet IP address. You can check IP config. Then the same 163, and this Palo Alto have the 179. They have the same subnet IP address. Just ping whether 179 is pingable or not. It should be pingable. Once it is pingable, say it is replying. So you just have to go in the browser and you have to log into the firewall. So let me show you how I can log into the firewall. So I'll go in my Chrome browser and I will put here HTTPS. And then after, I will log in 192.168.1.179. This firewall is going to be login. Meanwhile, you guys see this firewall is also login. So let me click OK. And this is 9.0 firewall. So earlier 9.0 having this kind of the interface, not yellow and white, but this firewall is your, you can see 11.2.3.h3. This is the latest one, super latest. Means this is the latest release of the Palo Alto firewall. So even if you want to test something on this firewall, we can do that. But you don't have to worry. We'll try to work on the 9.0, 10.0, even 11.0 you can see in front of you. So I'll just compare even the different even software version also, what the differences you are going to get. So you don't have to worry about anything. So you can see this is the latest version. If you search the Google, it is going to give the latest version. So now let me move to this again. And here you can see, again, I have to put the username and password. Whatever the password we have given, it is going to take. And now I'm going inside of the firewall. So this firewall is going to be login, then we'll get the again dashboard. So just we log in this firewall. Now we have to build this PC. We have to define this IP address, this IP address. So meanwhile, this is getting ready. Let me show you. So I'll click on this PC, window 1. It's already here. And also I'll click on the window 2. And I need to give the IP address of these two devices. So let me go and put the password. Again, 123 is the password. Again, I'll go here and put the 123 as a password. So probably it is going to be there. So this is my firewall is ready now. Let me connect it again, these two PC. Let me open it again. Yeah, now it's fine. So sometime window like not showing correctly. So just close the window. Again, it is going to show the fine. Now this PC, I have to define this IP address. So I'll go on this particular window PC and I will go in the network in properties and adapter settings. Here I'll go and properties. IPv4, go here and give the IP address. And what is my IP address? That is your 10.10.10.10 and subnet mask is 255.0. I'll click OK. Okay, done. I'll not give any like gateway because we are just going to check in the switching. Switching doesn't require any gateway, just IP and subnet mask. Gateway is going to require in the inter-vlan routing of the case when we're going to discuss. Now I'll go again on this particular PC and define the IP address. This time I'll give the 11 IP address of this PC. So I'll click it here. Here I'll go 10.10.10.11 and I will give the 255.0. Okay, so now done. One more thing, guys, these window PC ICMP by default blocked. Means even you can make the connectivity from here to here. This is not going to work because they are not going to allow the ICMP connections. So what we have to do that, we just have to disable the firewall. So you just have to click here and go in the window firewall feature and just disable it. So go in the window, go in the recommendation of private, you just make the off, public also make the off and click OK. So both firewall, you make sure you do this, else your ping is not going to work. Means both PC, not firewall. So I'll go here as well and I'll off, and I'll just make it off. Okay, this is also done. So now this is fine. We just done the basic stuff. Switch, you don't have to do. Let me do the switch. I'll create one VLAN and I'll make this port on the VLAN 10. So I'll go here and configure VLAN 10. And I'll configure these two interface, Ethernet 0x0 and 0x2. So interface, Ethernet 0x0, and I'll put switch port, mode, access, switch port, access, VLAN 10. No shut. Okay, do right. So I have done. I just make these two port on the part of the VLAN 10. So I'm assuming you guys have the basic switching knowledge. So VLAN brief, you can see VLAN 10 have the only one port. I need to configure another port as well. So interface Ethernet 0x2, switch port mode, access, switch port access, VLAN 10. Now let me check show VLAN brief. So now I have the two ports under this particular VLAN. This is the VLAN 10 and I am just using port Ethernet 0x0 and port Ethernet 0x2 as well. Now I'll go in the switch 2 as well. I'll make the same kind of the configuration. So I'll go here and I'll just create the VLAN 10. And after going there, I'll go in the interface Ethernet 0x0, or I can use the one range command Ethernet 0x0 to 1 because these two ports are there. 2 is there. So this command does not work. So let me check 0x1 to 0x2. So I'll put 1/2. And now I'll make the switch port mode access and switch port access VLAN 10. You guys understand what I'm doing? Basic thing, right?
Yes.
Just configuring the access port on the switch ports. This is a very basic thing. If not understand, let me know. So VLAN brief. This is the port I just make under the VLAN 10. So now my job has been done. Now there is no configuration of the firewall to make the communication happen. So if I try to ping even from the window PC from one to another, it is not going to work. Let me just do that. So if I'm going to ping 11 IP address, it is not pinging. And even I'm going to window 2, it is not pinging. If I'm going the window 2 as well and try to ping window 1 PC -T, it is not pinging. So what configuration I can do on the Palo Alto Firewall so that I can have the bidirectional communication. So see, it is showing unreachable and reachable. So now I have to do some configuration on the Palo Alto Firewall. So what I have to do, I have to go first on the, let me make a little bit size bigger. I will go first on the network. Under the network, we have to identify which two interfaces are responsible to make the layer 2 communication. So we have the Ethernet 1 by 1 and 1 by 2. So simply I'll go here and 1 by 1 I'll click it. And after clicking 1 by 1, I'll make this interface type as a layer 2. This is the first step. So I'll click on the layer 2 and then after you can see I have to give the VLAN name and here is the security zone. So that's why I mentioned that every interface you configured except HA, they always going to require the security zone. HA is the only one interface type where HA not require a security zone. So in that case, I'm going to decide in first scenario, my both LAN interface are going to LAN interface are going to in the LAN zone. But I'll check another scenario where my trust zone is going to happen and we'll verify what is going to happen. So I'll just go and I'll put the VLAN. VLAN is going to be created by here or might be you can create from here as well. See, here is the VLAN. So I'll just create here and you just have to give the name of the VLAN. Nothing, you can give the number or name, but only one condition. Whatever the name or number you're giving here, that should be the same in another side as well. That's the only condition you have to follow. So I'll give the number 10 and I'll click OK. And now zone, I'm going to create one zone and that is my LAN zone. So I'll create the LAN zone. I'll just copy it. And this is a layer 2 zone. You can see because it's a layer 2 interface, I make that. Now there is no IP, no advanced thing. You just click OK. Another thing, I'll go another interface. I will do the same configuration. So I'll go and make as a layer 2 interface. And here I'll go and select the same number 10 VLAN ID. And then I'll create the LAN zone. No other information. I'll click OK. And my configuration is done. Still see they are not pinging, but after commit, they will start doing the communication. Magic is going to happen. How? Let's see. And which policy is going to come in picture? We'll see that also. So just wait. So now see commit has been done and they will start pinging, but somehow they stop pinging. Why it was happen? See, they start pinging. There are two packets. Now they start pinging. You can see. So there was something happen. I don't know what happened, but you can see they start pinging to each other. So I haven't done anything much. I simply configure these two interface under the VLAN, same VLAN ID, and they start doing communication. But how it is possible? Do we require any policy? The answer is yes. We require any policy, but in Palo Alto Firewall, by default, two policies there. The first one is the intra-zone policy, right? Where everything is by default allowed. Second one is the inter-zone policy, where everything by default blocked or denied. Okay, so this is the policy by default we have in the Palo Alto Firewall. And because of that region, I draw the block diagram, right? Where I just discussed like we have a different department and this department want to talk. So by default, they can talk if the department is going to same. If the department is going to be different, then they are not going to talk. This is the only region, means if I'm going to belong in the HR and this is again HR interface, so they are going to talk because they have the similar policy already available. If I have the different policy, means different kind of the IT department. So they are the inter-zone, means they are the inter-department. So they are not going to allow. So where is the policy? So if you go in the Palo Alto Firewall and you go in the policy section, you are going to find this policy. And here is the policy, you can see. See, this is your intra-zone policy and inter-zone policy. If you scroll right side, you can see in intra-zone, by default, it is everything is allowed. And because of that region, firewall is doing the communication because both are belong to the same zone and they are able to communicate. But the moment I will change the zone on this one interface, they will stop doing the communication because they will not hit this default policy. They will start hitting the inter-zone default policy. Even they are in the layer 2, but they are not going to talk at all. You guys get this point? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes,
Batao?
got it.
Got it? So
Yes,
let
sir.
me change the zone. So what I'll do that, I will go as per topology, I'll go in the interface. I will just rename it and I'll change as a trust zone. So let me do that. I'll go to the interface and I will change this as a trust zone. So what I'll do, I'll create the new zone. So I'll click it here. I will just create here trust and I'll put a zone. I'll click OK. I'll click OK. And I'll commit. So you can see there is a zone has been changed, trust zone now. So once I'll make commit, this communication is going to be stopped because they will start hitting to inter-zone default policy. So if I want to allow again it back, then how it is possible? We'll see the next scenario. So just wait. So now it's done. Commit is done. And if you go here, see, we lost the communication again. So there is no communication because we don't have the policy which is allowing the connection. So now if I want to make the communication again back, so we have to change our policy. Means by default, it is hitting the default policy, which is the inter-zone. So they are going to always at the bottom of the policy. So if there is a new policy, if I'll create and if I'll allow the communication from these two PC, from this zone to this zone, they will start doing the communication. How? Let me do that. So I will create one policy and in this policy, I'm going to say allow traffic from LAN to trust zone. You can put any name. And here I'll put the source zone. It is coming from which zone? The traffic is coming from LAN zone. What is my source address? I'll put the address 10.10.10.10, right? Single address. I can put it here. Where they want to go? They want to go on your trust zone. You'll ignore the user. We'll discuss what is the user later stage. And what is my destination IP? I'll put that 10.10.10.11. That's all. You put application any, services any, and action should be allowed. So I'll create one policy. So once I'll create this policy, my one direction traffic is going to be start working. So you see both direction traffic is not working, but the moment I'll do the commit, one direction traffic will start work. So let me show you. So see, my one direction traffic is start working. This is still not working. So as I mentioned that, I believe when we discussed yesterday, I believe, no, day before yesterday, the stateful firewall having the feature, if you want to communicate, then based on your policy, it will reach the traffic to destination. And if it is going to reply based on the request, this firewall will process your traffic. But if this is going to request new traffic from their side, then this firewall require the policy. So once it is getting it is sending the packet from this PC to this PC based on his request, it is replying with the same policy. But once it is requesting the request to just reach to this PC, it is not working because we don't have the reverse policy. So to allow this communication again, we require the reverse policy. How the reverse policy is going to be created? We can go on this PC again and I can just clone this policy, or might be I can create this policy. Clone means I'll get the new policy, I can edit that policy, but I can let me just create the new policy. So this time allow from DMJ to trust to LAN. You just have to make sure they all are having some kind of the dash or no spacing. Okay. So there should be no space. They all are in the same kind of the dash or might be the underscore. And here I'll put the source zone. This time it is coming from trust and IP is my 10.10.11. Destination, it is going to be, LAN. Address is 10.10.10.10. And I'll click OK. And that's all. And now we have the board action policy. And you can click it here. You're going to find the traffic start working. Then we'll validate whether the traffic is hitting the firewall or not. So how we can see this is start working. That means the firewall is start processing the traffic. But if you want to check the live traffic where the firewall is receiving this traffic from this source destination or not, so how can you do that? You just have to go in the session browser and you can see we have the traffic from 10 to 11 and 11 to 10. You can see we have the different zone. This is the one policy. And if I just scroll from this one, you can see this is the another policy. Allow from trust to LAN, and this is LAN to trust. And this is a source and this is a destination from where we can see that the detail. You guys get it about the layer 2?
Yes.
Please let me know. Any question?
Yes.
Sir,
Okay.
in layer 2, like this, what will be the use case, like where it can be used? In
Technically, you are not going to use anywhere.
yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
So, but
This is a feature, like
yeah,
what
this is
we
one
have. Yeah.
feature you should know. Interview, they are going to ask. Might be you have
Mm-hmm.
switching environment. We have to
Because
integrate.
even myself, I have never seen this kind of environment where it has been used in layer 2 case. So
Yeah,
that's the
that's the
reason
thing.
I
Even it is not like some feature in the Palo Alto Firewall, they're just useless. But
mm-hmm.
for the interview purpose, for the feature purpose, you should know it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I just explained this all things. In
Okay.
case you have to integrate to the switch, you want to test that some VLAN and all, so you should do that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let me stop this recording and I'll start again. Okay. So now we have to discuss another scenario. Let me stop this. So let me stop this all. I'll discuss another. We have the another scenario where we have to discuss about the inter-vlan routing. So this similar stuff, right? But I want to do inter-vlan routing. Then how it is possible? How can I do that? So let me change it. I want to just make it wipe. So I'm using 9.0 image for timing. It's a quicker one. 10.0 is going to take longer time. So let me explain how the inter-vlan routing is going to be happen. And even I want to integrate with DHCP server, then how it is going to happen. So anyone know what is the inter-vlan routing? Any idea?
So allowing
traffic
communication
between two
from
different
yeah,
VLANs.
two different VLANs, allowing communication between two different VLANs.
Yeah. Muthu, what about you? You know about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you done this inter-vlan routing in any production environment?
Not in production environment, but I've done on labs.
Okay, in labs you have done. That's a good. Okay, so I'm just writing here. I'm assuming Amol and Rajan, you also know about it, right? So what is happening? Let's suppose this is my layer 2 switch. Okay, L2 switch. This switch have two PC. The PC A and the another PC, I have the PC B. This one having the IP address 172.16.10.10/24 and this one having 192.168.10.10/24. This is a part of the VLAN 172. This is a part of VLAN 192. So this is a layer 2 switch. And if these two VLAN want to communicate each other, by default, they won't be able to communicate because this is not a right device who can do the like inter-VLAN routing. So there is two options. Either I have to change this switch as a layer 3 switch, or I have to introduce some layer 3 devices as a router here. So what is going to be happen? I will create one of the link from this switch and I will pass this both VLAN 172 and 192 here on this link, and this link is going to act as a trunk link because they have to process two VLAN. And here what I have to do that I will configure the sub interface. And after configuring sub interface, I will allow dot one queue, I'll create dot one queue interface, and I will just create sub interface with the VLAN ID 172 and 192. And I will allow the like trunking protocol encapsulation dot one queue, and I'll just give the VLAN ID name. And then your packet will come from this PC, and from this PC it will go to this router, and then from router it will come back to another PC, and here the all routing is going to be happen. So this is basically known as the inter-VLAN routing. Clear? So same thing if I want to do with the Palo Alto Firewall. So what I have to do that in this you can see we have the two PC. One is the PC10 subnet, one is the PC20 subnet. And here is the switch. So these two ports are going to act as a 10, VLAN 10, 20. This port is going to act as a trunk port. And this is going to act as my single port where I have to create the sub interface. And I have to pass the tagging VLAN 10 and 20 on both sub interface. So if this PC want to talk, they will first go here and they will come back to again from here to here. And then they will make the communication. So we'll see even these two PC are going to firewall and they have two different sub interface. Still we require two, this is the VLAN 10 zone and this is the VLAN 20 zone. So we still require the policy based on the sub interface because sub interface zone are totally going to be different. So even my single interface want to do the communication, they will not do the communication unless or until you are going to allow the policy. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So let me do these things. Okay. So let me first go and click on the PCs and I'll just put the password here. Let me open it again. Just wait. Okay. Let me click it again. Click it again. And I'll put the password. So I'll just set up the IP and all. So I will just click it here. It will be ready. Let me open it again. Yeah, now it is ready. Restart. Okay. So let me check what is IP. Okay, just give me 1 minute. One call I'm getting urgently. Just give me 1 minute. Am I audible? Now I'm audible? Hello?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
You're.
So let me go here and check the IP as well. There is no IP. So what I'll do that, I'll simply configure the IP. So I will go and give the IP. This time I need to define the gateway because one network want to communicate to another network. So gateway is mandatory here. So I will go here and I will simply go in this particular PC. And I will click it here and I'll just give the IP. What is IP? 10.10.10/24. So I will give 10.10.10.10 and subnet mask definitely it is going to 255.255.0 and gateway is 10.10.10.1. No DNS, nothing required. So I have done this configuration. Now, if I check, there will be the IP is there. Still, you need to disable the window firewall again. So just make sure disable the window firewall as well. So I will just click it here and go here. Okay, I will apply. So this PC job has been done. Now I'll go on the another PC. I will click on here, go in the property. Quickly, I will change the adapter setting. I will go here, properties. And here is the IP people, and then I'll give the 20.20.20 255.255 and the gateway is 20.20.20.1. Okay, this is also done. And I will just go here, security firewall, and I will just simply okay, so this is done. So basic thing I have done on these two PCs, and I will just verify whether the IP is there or not. So you can see the IP is there. But you will try to ping the gateway, it is not going to work because we haven't done any configuration on the firewall and the switches as well. So it is not going to work. So now it's time to do the switch configuration. So a very simple thing, we have to create the access port and we have to create the trunk port as well. So let me see why it's not working. Yeah, now it's working. So I'll go here and configure the VLAN 10 and also configure the VLAN 20. Right. And after that, what I have to do, I will go on the port. This is my port, Ethernet 0x1. So I will go here, Ethernet 0x1 port, and I'll give switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN 10, no shut. And I will just go on the another port, interface, Ethernet 0x2, switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN 20, this time 20, and I'll put the no shut. If you want to verify, like do VLAN brief. So you'll see these two ports, like 0x1 is under VLAN 10 and 0x2 is under VLAN 20. So access port, we have done the configuration. Now we have to make this port as a trunk port so that these two VLAN is going to process from the switch toward the Palo Alto firewall. So how can you do that? You have to go on the interface Ethernet 0x0. Yes, 0x0. And you have to run switch port trunk encapsulation. You have to enable .1q. And then you have to make switch port mode trunk and run the command switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10,20 and no shut this port and do right. That's all. So my job has been done. If you want to run the configuration, you want to see the configuration of this uplink. This is the configuration I have done. I just enable the encapsulation. Then I allow the two VLAN and make this port as a trunk port. Now, if you want to check show interface trunk, so you are going to find these two ports are part of the trunk and Ethernet 0x0 is that part of that particular port. Means particular that two VLANs. So this is done. Now it's time to work on the firewall. So you can see this firewall get this IP address 185. So just put again username and the admin and password again admin. So this is going to ask to reset the password. So I'll put again old password here and then I'll put the new password. And one more thing, once you work on the 9.0 firewall, you always make sure to check show jobs all command and make sure this auto commit is completed. So it's stuck in the 10%. So what I have to do that, I have to go in the configure and I have to run the command commit force. So it is going to be completed 100%, then we can do the rest of the configuration. If it is the stuck in the auto commit, then you cannot do any commit configurations via the GUI. It will always going to fail. So what is the auto commit? If anyone is going to ask in the interview, what is the auto commit? So you should know about the feature of the auto commit. So auto commit, whenever you reboot the Palo Alto Firewall, restart the Palo Alto Firewall after power recycle, it is always going to copy your last running configuration, means that is saved as a running configuration or startup configuration in the running configuration, so that your firewall is going to be functional. Okay, and it will process the exact same configuration what was the last like known by the Palo Alto Firewall. So that's why when we like put the configuration from the it's a backup configuration to running configuration, it will always go and do the auto commit, means the firewall will do the commit. So if you go in the Google event and you search about the Palo Alto auto commit, so you are going to get some kind of the discussion here in communities also. Sometime it is going to ask by the interviewer what is auto commit. So see here it is written what is auto commit and why needed. See in PAN OS the hardware will have the management plane to manage the devices. There is two plane I discussed, the control plane and the management plane. So management plane is just doing the management stuff, and the data plane which control hardware interface, policy, routing, whatever you want to do that is going to happen. When you power on Palo Alto Firewall network, that's the same thing I explained. Whenever reboot or power cycle, VM series or hardware, the device will not have any policy rule running on the data plane. That is a DP. This means also interface will not enable. So every configuration is not going to be enabled by default. Whatever you have done the last time before power on. So auto commit is a function in the PAN OS that enable interface ability to load policy in the device in the data plane, allowing traffic to pass through, thus enabling the firewall. It's a background feature that lasts about the 15 minute, 5 to 15 minute. Means when you start the firewall, it will take 5 to 15 minutes to complete your auto commit feature. That's why when I start the firewall, it went in the auto commit and it was taking longer time. So I want to do the commit, so I just make them force commit. So it was happened the force commit. So depending on the device complexity and the configuration, the firewall can be accessed from the management interface panorama in that, but the DP physical interface will be down. So we cannot do anything. So you can check that show job process, it will show the auto commit. Same thing, I just check that. And you want to check from the GUI, we can also check that. So this is all about the auto commit. Understand what is auto commit, guys? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
So now if I going to check again, so job solve. See, my auto commit is okay. First time it was failed, now it is okay. So auto commit is also fine. So now let me check what is the IP. So system interface info, and this is 185 IP. So you guys can log in this firewall from this PC, okay? Because you don't have the direct LAN access. So whatever I have done in the previous lab, always you have to access this firewall from this PC. They will on the same network. But I can directly log in from my browser. So I will go in my HTTPS and I'll give the IP address because I'm in the LAN. So I can directly log in from my browser. So see, I'm able to log in and I can just simply log into the firewall. So I will go here and I'll put the password. So even one more thing, in the PAN-OS 9.0, we changed the firewall from the CLI. But to affect in the GUI, it will take some time, 15 to 20 minutes. So if you don't want to wait, you can change the GUI password as well. So data plane is not completely synced. So you can change the password. You just put the old password and it is going to ask the new password. You can change for the GUI again. The same password you can put, it is going to take. But 10.0, you don't have to do these all steps. It is going to happen very nicely. And everything is going to work very good from there. So now you can see we are good. So we have to do inter-vlan routing. So we done this PC configuration, we done this configuration, we done this switch interface trunk configuration. Now it's time to Palo Alto. We have single interface, Ethernet 1x1. So I will go here and I will simply click on the Ethernet 1x1 and I will make this interface as the layer 3 interface. That's all. I'm not going to define any virtual router. What is a virtual router? I'll discuss later stage. I'm not going to define any kind of security zone. I will discuss what is security, means we know all the security zone, what is security zone. I'm not going to define any IP address because I just want to enable this interface as a layer 3 interface and I have to configure the sub interfaces here. So I'll click it OK and my job is done. Now, technically, I have to process 2 VLAN on this particular interface. So I have to get 2 sub interface. So I'll go in this particular firewall and here I selected this interface and here is the option. I can go and create the first sub interface. Very important thing you have to note it here. See, if I want to create the sub interface, there is 2 options. One is the tag and one is this number. So likewise in a Cisco router, if I want to do the tagging, .1 tagging, this .1 tagging always should be exact VLAN ID, but this number is anything from this range. Even this is going to happen in Cisco. Interface ID doesn't mean it is going to be same as a VLAN ID, but your .1 queue tagging should be always the VLAN ID. So what is my VLAN ID? 10 and 20. So it's a best practice. I always use the 10 here and 10 here also. If I'm going 20, then 20 here, 20 here. But this is not mandatory. I can use any random number from here. If I want to use 100 here and here 10, it is going to work. 200, 10, it is going to work. Means that 20, it is going to work. If I'm going 1000 here, 2000 here, and 10 and 20, it is going to work. But it's a best practice, always the same number. Okay. So I will go because I'm going to get for VLAN 10. So I'll put the interface ID also 10. Here also 10. Now it is asking for the virtual router. What is a virtual router? I will explain. But in Palo Alto Firewall, just think there is a default virtual router where we have to do all routing. So I will select the default virtual router. I'll explain what is a virtual router and how it is going to function later stage. So I'll select the default. Now I have to select the security zone. So we are configuring for the VLAN 10 security zone. So I will put the name as a VLAN 10. That's all. And click OK. And IP, I will put this IP as a 10.10.10.1/24. One more thing, guys. Okay, let me click OK. So one interface is created. Now I'll create another interface. 20, 20. I'll put the default and here this time I'll put the VLAN as a VLAN 20. Okay. IP, I will give that 20.20.20.1/24 and I will click OK. So the job has been done. Now this configuration has been done, but this configuration is not going to come in effect until you are going to make the commit. So let me first do the commit and we'll do some basic checks and then we'll test further how it is going to be look like. So at least we created some interface. So that means these two PC must be able to reach the gateway. And also we'll try to ping whether able to ping or not. So let me see first. So commit is done almost. So I'll go in this PC. Let me first test the gateway is reachable or not. So see, even I have done the configuration, but my gateway is not pingable. And from here also, if I try to ping, my gateway is not pingable. Why it is happening? There is a special reason. So the reason is we have the concept in the Palo Alto Firewall is the management profile. Anyone know? MGMT profile. What is MGMT profile? Any idea?
It's a kind of profile where we allow SSH ping.
Yes, absolutely right.
Yeah.
So management profile is the feature by default. Again, I'm writing here by default. All services are management services basically disabled on all interfaces except management interface. So what does mean? That means we have this interface, management interface, we have this layer 2, layer 3 where IP is going to be defined. So if you're going on the management interface, by default, we are going to get ping services allowed, SSH is allowed, or HTTPS is allowed by default on this management interface. Let me show you. So if I'm going on the management interface, here is a management interface. You just go in the device and go in the management. Here is the interface and go and check it. This is 3 services is enabled by default. So any management interface you able to ping because these are the enable services, HTTPS, SSH and ping. That's why you are able to ping them, SSH them and log in them. This firewall. But if you are going to talk about the any other interface apart from the management, that is by default block. So if you want to purposefully allow the services, then you have to create the management profile and you have to tell them that particular interface, I want to allow this particular feature. So how it is going to happen? I will click on this interface, go in the advanced, and here is the management. From here also you can create that. So I will create directly management profile here and I will put the MGMT profile. And here I'll allow the services like ping I want to allow. Let's suppose I want to allow the SSH on this interface, HTTPS that. Then I'll click OK and OK. See, it is giving the warning, giving that by attaching the interface management profile to this interface, you are potentially exposing firewall administrative interface to any third party. This can reach this interface. Would you like to continue this change? So if I want to continue, I can continue. If I don't want, I even cancel it. So I want, so I can click OK. I will apply on this interface as well. So same management profile. So let me do, and I'll click OK, and then I will commit it. The job has been done. Now, if I'm going to ping from these PCs, it should work. So my address gateway should be reachable. Earlier, it was not reachable because we don't have the feature to allow the ping from that particular interface. So it is done. And let me clear this dashboard. And if I go here and try to ping, see, I'm able to reach the gateway. So you understand what is the management profile? Now, if I try to ping from this PC to another PC, it will not work. Let me show you. It is not working. And I will do the same thing from the another PC. It is not working. So what next? How it is going to work? So because this is a 2 different zone, VLAN 10 and 20. So we required the policy from VLAN 10 to 20 and from 20 to 10. So now I have to go there. Routing is the first thing. Routing is going to require, but right now why routing is not required? Because both are the connected interface. So if you go in the router, they will all have the routing available as a connected route. So they don't require any additional routing on it. But if I want to do the communication, so along with routing, we require the policy as well. So I will go here and I will create the new policy, and I will just put here allow VLAN 10 to VLAN 20 traffic. And here I'll just put the VLAN 10, just put the address, whole subnet if you want to do that, 0/24. And destination is the VLAN 20, and this is subnet. I want to give 2020. If you want to give the full subnet, you can give it from here. Action, you just put the allow, click OK. So this is one direction traffic. So reverse, you have to also do that. Else your reverse is not going to work. So this is going to be 20. This is going to be 10, and this is my zone 20. So that's 24. And this is my 10, 10, 10, 10, 0/24. Okay, so this is done, done, done. Okay, and I'll commit. The moment I will do, they will start doing the communication. Wait for a while. See, it is start pinging, means we start having the configuration. You can see on this page also, this PC. So both way it is start pinging, and if you go in the traffic monitor, go in the session browser, you will see this traffic. It is coming from VLAN 20 to 10, 10 to 20, and just expand it. You are going to find a different policy, 20 to 10, 10 to 20. Clear, guys, about the layer 3 VLAN, how it is going to happen?
Yes.
Any doubt? Okay, so anything? Or you are good? Okay, so I'm considering good. Let me stop the recording. Let me start it again. Okay, so the next thing we have to understand about the DHCP, okay? Because I want to show you some feature before. So DHCP is another feature. We have to understand what is a DHCP and how this DHCP is going to work in the Palo Alto Firewall, right? So anyone know what is DHCP?
Automatically assigning IP addresses.
Dynamic host control protocol.
Yeah, dynamic host control protocol. That's nice. How
Port
DHCP
number
works?
53.
Port
UDP port
number?
number.
What is the port number?
53. UDP TCP 453.
Okay. And how this is going to work? What is the process to work this particular DHCP?
Yeah, actually, it is a DORA process.
Okay, Dora process. Very nice. Okay. So what is going to be happen? Let's suppose this PC want to take the IP address from the firewall. Then we have to make the firewall as a DHCP. If the PC want to get IP address from remote DHCP server, like this is my DHCP server, then I have to do some configuration in this particular firewall. Then it is going to take IP from this particular DHCP server. So what is the background for DHCP? DHCP basically dynamic host control protocol. So let's suppose in organization we have the thousands of systems and they need IP address. So there is two way. One, I can go and assign the static IP manually for all the PC. One is the DHCP. So DHCP is the automatically, and this is the manual thing. So doing a manual IP assignment on daily basis, it's a quite tedious job and like monotonous work, and probably it is not recommended. For one system, two system, small office, it's fine. but for daily basis, and even for the small system, it's very difficult for the non-IT user to go and define the IP address. So there is a feature in the Palo Alto Firewall, the DHCP feature. You can enable it, and in this DHCP feature, what is going to happen? There is a DORA process, and based on that DORA process, let's suppose what is a DORA? DORA T is basically it is going to discover. O is basically going to offer. R is going to request, and this is going to be acknowledge. Okay, so this is going to be acknowledge and request and offer and discover. So what is going to happen? Let's suppose any PC want to get IP address. Let's suppose this is the PC. Right now I just define the IP manually. So let me go here and change the IP assignment. Let me stop this communication. So earlier I defined the IP address manually. So I want to assign the IP address like DHCP. So what I have to do that? I have to go in the adapter setting. I have to go in the LAN. And here is IPv6. And I will change the obtain IP address automatically. So this will try to get IP address automatically. The moment I will do this, it will trigger the DORA process. Means this PC will send the discovery request in LAN network as a broadcast. Can someone send me the IP address, or there is a DHCP server available who can give the IP address? If there is a DHCP server available in the network, then it is going to offer, and based on the offer, it will request one of the IP address, and then finally it will take the IP address and it will acknowledge, yes, I am going to be fine. So this is how DORA process is going to happen. Means the IP lease request is going to happen. The lease is going to offer by your DHCP server, and lease selection is going to be happen from this particular client. And then it is going to also acknowledge, yes, I have get the IP address. So right now you see that this PC doesn't have the IP address. See, this is getting APIPA IP address. Similarly, I'll get this PC. I will change from the static to dynamic. So I will go in the change adapter settings, and I will just change it. Obtain IP address, and this is okay. So now if I go and check it, IP config, you don't have any IP address. After some time, it will take the APIPA IP address. So there is no IP address available on this particular PC. So now how I can make my Palo Alto Firewall a DHCP server? This is the one scenario. Means my Palo Alto Firewall is going to act as a DHCP server. And the second scenario, I will use some third-party DHCP server where my Palo Alto is going to act as a DHCP relay agent, which is equivalent to IP helper address. Okay, so these two scenarios we have to do testing. So let's start with the one scenario. So let me go on the firewall. It's very easy. You just have to go in the network, and after going in the network, you have to go in the DHCP. And there is two options. DHCP server means I will make this Palo Alto firewall a DHCP, and then I will move to another section where we just have to support the relay agent. One question I have and asking by the Jitu online. Does layer 2 interface support the STP? The Palo Alto doesn't support the STP. The switch only support that STP. Palo Alto doesn't support. Okay, so let me go here and I will enable the first DHCP on the one interface. This is my interface 10.10 means 10 interface. There are three options. You can see one is option is the enable, disable, and auto. So disable basically going to disable your DHCP feature. That's for sure. Enable is going to enable my DHCP. That's for sure. But what does means auto? Auto means, let's suppose I'm making the auto and already some DHCP feature enable on this particular interface from past. So it will just suppress the old one and it will just change with the new one. So I'm just going to make it enable, and then it is asking few things. You want to click ping IP when assigning the new IP, allocating the new IP. Means any device is getting the IP and you want to ping that, then you can enable this feature. I don't want. Then it is asking the lease time. Means when any client going to get the IP address, how many days, hours, or might be the unlimited they want to take the IP address. So if you put the unlimited, they will always have the same IP address until their system is alive. But if you want to put this as a timeout, might be you want to give the like 12 hour. So you just put a 0 day or some minute, 30 minutes. So it is, the system is going to get IP for the next 12 hour, 30 minutes. After that, the IP is going to be changed. So these two things have been done. Lease is done. Now it is asking the pool from where your system will get the IP address. So you have in the /24 network. So how many usable IP we have? Anyone? In this network, how many usable IP we have?
254.
254. Okay. So one is gateway IP address. So already reserved. So technically 253. But for some reason, we have to reserve some IP address as well. Like exclude IP address, we have to do like Cisco network. So if I want to exclude, then what I have to do that I have to define the range like this. So I'll go here and add the range. Let's suppose I want to exclude first 100 IP address. So means 99 IP address or 100. So you just have to start from the 101 and then your system will get the IP address from this range. Means first 100 IP will not be used and your system will get the IP from 101 to 254. This is your pool. If you have some kind of the static mapping for the any MAC address, means you want to map any MAC address, reserve the IP address, you can do that also. So that particular MAC will get only that particular map IP address. This option also available. If you want to do that for any client MAC, always get this IP address. This is also possible. So this is done. Now you have to go in the option and you have to get the gateway. When the IP is going to get, what is the gateway? So gateway is 10.10.1 and what is the subnet mask? 255, 255, 255.0. I don't want to give the DNS and all. So if you want to DNS, you want to inherit from this particular firewall, it will take the same DNS, whatever the firewall have, but I don't want to give. And if I want to give some kind of the like new inheritance I want to create, then I can create that also. So I don't want, I just click none and click OK. This is done. So one interface done. Now I have to configure for the another interface 20. So this is again, I'll go and make them enable and timeout. Let me put 12 hour, 30 minutes. I'll put 0. This time I'll get like 20, 20, 20, 201. Okay. Till 20, 20, 20, 254. So it will get IP address from 200. Gateway, I'll give 20, 20, 20.1. This is 255, 255, 255.0. And I'll click OK. And I'll commit it. Once I do that, this PC will get an IP address. So just wait, commit. So this is done. And now if we go on the particular here and check the, and you have to do the renew, you just have to do the renew. So it will try to get the IP address. And you just go here and just do the ipconfig/renew. So it will try to get IP address. See, it is getting the IP address for the 101. And this will get the IP address. Let me show you 201. And if you try to ping from here to 20, 20, 20, 201, see it is pinging because already we have the policy. So they start working and they start getting the IP address as well. Here you just want to ping 10.10.10.101. It is also pinging because we have the policy. And if you want to verify what IP has been released, so you can just check here and this is the IP released for this particular MAC address and this is a host name. And this is the duration for this particular IP. If you want to check this one, it will get this IP address. If I change the range, let's suppose I change the range from here, like I want to change is like something like 250. So it will get the IP from 251. If I commit it, so whatever range you are giving, that will give the IP address. So let me just commit and it will say, see the change IP is going to be happen and it will become the 251. See, so let me go again this PC and let me renew again. So first let me release, and once release done, then I will renew. So it will get IP new as a 251. See, this is the 251. So this is how you can exclude and include the IP address, and it is going to work. Clear to everyone how DHCP we can make as a Palo Alto Firewall DHCP server?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Now there is another use case. We have to make external DHCP server. We have to configure external DHCP server, and then we have to get the IP address from these two PCs. Then how it is possible? So let me see. So let me configure the DHCP server. Okay, first I'll configure the DHCP server and then we'll see how it is possible. So I will configure another interface on the Palo Alto Firewall as well. Let me first configure the DHCP server. Just wait. So I'm using as a router as a DHCP server. Okay. You can use the window machine where you can enable the DHCP server. Other third party also we have info blocks. You can use that. So just to demonstrate, I'm using the router, Cisco router as a DHCP server, and we'll see how it is going to happen. So whatever configure I'm doing on the Cisco router, you can do the same thing in your scenario and it is going to work. So let me go here and do the configuration. So I'll change the host name and I'll make the DHCP server. And I will configure the interface. This is the interface. This is the 192.168. 10.2 I will configure here and one configure here. So interface, what is the interface? G0/0. Gig 0/0. IP address 192.168, 10.2, 255, 255, 255.0. No shut. And what I'll do that, I will put one of the default route pointing to this firewall. So any route is going to become, any request is going to come. So it will just do the routing as well. So routing is very important. So I will add one default route as well. So we have the like reverse routing. And this next hop would be the my firewall IP address. Done. Sorry. Now what I have to do that, I have to make this DHCP configuration here. So there are two network. One is 10, one is 20. So how we can create a DHCP pool here? So I have to go here and I will create the IP DHCP pool. Okay, and I will put the name, pool name. So this is for the VLAN 10. I will put the pool. Okay. And here I'll give the network. So what is my network? Network is 10.10.10.0 and subnet mask 255, 255.255.0. And default router is the default gateway of this particular PC. So what is the default gateway? 1. If you want to define the default, if you want to give the, let me see, DNS server, in case you also want to define the DNS for that particular. So you can just put like a DNS is 8.8.8. So that is going to take the DNS server as well. Now, this is the DHCP configuration, but this is the whole range. You want to exclude some IP address. So how can I exclude that from this particular? So it will not give the IP address from the excluded range. So I will put the command IP DHCP exclude address. And let's suppose I want to reserve first 15 address. So this is my range. And then, 1 to 10.10.10.15. So it will exclude the IP address. It will give the IP address from 16 to the client. So this is the first VLAN configuration. Now I will do the similar configuration for the VLAN 20. And I will do this network 20, 20, 20, and I'll put a default router 20, 20, 20.1. DNS server, I'll put 8.8.1, 8. And I will put the IP DHCP exclude address. Let me get out from here. IP DHCP exclude address. I'll put first 20, 20, 21. Let's suppose I want to exclude first 20 address. Okay, so this is going to exclude it. Let me put do right. Done. So let me show you the DHCP configuration. Show run section DHCP. So this is the whole configuration. You can see I created two DHCP exclude range where I don't want to allow PC get IP address from this range. Then I created these two DHCP pool. Under this will define the default router, network, and DNS server. So the job has been done. Now this address is going to act as a DHCP server address. So how this PC is going to get address? First, I have to make sure this PC means this network have reachability with this network. So we have to do some policy here, and routing by default is going to be created. So let me go and create the interface where I have to connect this DHCP server. So this is a 1x3. So I will go on the 1x3, and this time we have to make this as a L3 interface. So it's a very common interface. We have to configure L3 interface. So you just have to go here and make that as a L3 interface. And after that, you just have to define the virtual router, which I'll explain what is the virtual router, and the security zone. So now it is a DHCP zone. So I will go and create the DHCP zone and IP, that is the 192.168.10.1/24. Advanced, I will give the management profile. Okay, and then I'll click OK. Done. But what about the policy? So these two zone want to communicate with the DHCP. So their request is going, this not want to communicate, but these two want to communicate. So we have to create a policy from VLAN 10 zone to VLAN 20 zone to the DHCP zone. Okay, with this subnet range. So we have to go in the policy again, and we have to create, let me put as a DHCP policy. And here I'll go zone. It is coming from the VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. And the subnet is 10.10.10.0/24. 20.20.0/24. Destination is something DHCP. And what is the address? This is 192.168.10.0/24. Okay, application services action. Okay, this is done. So your policy also created. So now routing is not required because already is there, because we have the directly connected networks. So you already, let me commit, then you'll see the routing, because 192 is also directly connected. So we don't require any routing on the firewall because all three network in the same virtual router and they are directly connected. Interface is there. And we given the reverse route here. So you are going to get the connectivity from forward and reverse traffic. So let me see. It is done. So now you can see the routing as well. So all three are the same router. And if you check the forwarding table, they are like valid route. And this is the connected route. You can see A is the active and H is the host route. C is the connected route. Here is the C. C is the connected route. So they all are the connected and they are like having the routing. So policy already created. Now it's time to see how we can enable the DHCP relay on the Palo Alto Firewall. So you just have to go again the network and DHCP. And now you have to go in a DHCP relay. And you just have to put your relay network for different relay network address for different LAN interface. So we have this LAN interface and we have to give the DHCP server IP address, that is 192.168.10.1. 10.2. If the IPv4, you can give that. But if you just try to click OK, it will throw an error because it's showing that already this interface is part of the DHCP server. So you cannot configure the DHCP relay. So first you have to delete these two from the DHCP server. Then you can configure this interface under the DHCP relay. So now it's done. Now let me just go and configure it. This is the one interface. I'll put it 192.168.10.2. And I'll click OK. So one is done. And configure for another interface. I will give the same DHCP. This is done. I'll click OK. And now I'll commit it. And you'll see that after commit, these PC will start getting IP address from the new range. Just wait. So now the commit has been done. Almost done. Now go in this PC and do first thing, release. Let me renew the IP address. And let me renew this IP address as well. Let me see. See, this is getting IP address from 101. Okay. Let me first release. Let me renew it also. Yeah. So see, this is getting IP config. Let me check. So 251. Okay. Show DHCP binding. Show IP DHCP binding. Yeah, so it is giving the IP address. See, from the it is getting IP address from 101 and 251. So that's absolutely fine. There is no problem. This is the only giving the IP address. So how can I validate? I can just check ping whether my DHCP server is reachable or not. So sorry. See, I have the reachability. That means this is the only giving the IP address. So let me ping. So this is also pinging. So if I want to re-verify whether this is the IP getting or not, so what you can do that you can just change the exclude range. Sorry, this is the exclude range. So if you want to change the exclude range, let's suppose I want to change the exclude range. Let's suppose I want to give from 1 to this is give a 101. So now I want to make 150 here. So it will not get this IP address. And for 20, I want to make this as a let 251. So I'll let make 260. So you'll see this is going to be changed. Sorry, 251. So let me make a 252. 255. After 255, we cannot give the IP address. Okay. So now let me check. Let me show you the again new exclude range. So let me delete the old entries. This is not required because of the duplicacy. So no. And I will put this also as a no. So now you can see. So you'll see the PC will get the new IP address range. This is getting the old known IP address because they have this DHCP server. So they have the cache and they requested the same IP address from the DHCP server. So you can see, hey, what happened? Where is another entry? Yeah, we have 150 and 251. Let me do the renew again. Let me do the release. And let me do the release again. And let me renew again. Wait. See, so it is getting now 151 IP address. And this is getting 253 IP address. Why? Because I changed the range. So you see here, now we have the new IP range. Exactly, it is matching. So you guys understand how to make DHCP relay and how to make DHCP server, Palo Alto Firewall? Any question?
No, sir.
Clear? Okay. So the last thing we'll discuss about the virtual router, okay? What is a virtual router? A small topic that we will stop this session. So next 15 minutes, we'll discuss about the virtual router. So what is the virtual router, guys? So as we know that, like router have the layer 3 functionality. Means if you want to do the routing, so router is responsible for this. And what is routing? Based on the IP addressing. Means whatever the IP address you have, layer 3 addresses, you want to reach from one source to another destination, this routing is going to play a very important role here. And based on the routing, you can do the stop. Means you can reach from one location to another location. So that's why in Palo Alto or any other devices, any firewall I'm talking about, if you think without routing, your packet is going to be processed, so this is completely a myth. It is absolutely not possible. Routing is a very primary thing, and for any communication, it is going to be required. So that means if you have the firewalls, either the Cisco ASA firewall, it's a Palo firewall, FortiGate firewall, Sophos firewall, right? You have the Checkpoint firewall or any XYZ firewall, they all have the routing engine, right? So they can process the packet from one source to another destination. Router we have or L3 switch we have, they have the dedicated functions. This is only doing the routing, means layer 3 address forwarding. This can do the switching and this can do the routing both. Okay. So how Palo Alto Firewall is going to integrate this feature to just make sure we have the routing capabilities. So every Palo Alto Firewall, it's a virtual firewall or might be the physical firewall. They have one of the engine and that is known as the virtual router. And this is only responsible for the routing. So anything, let's suppose you want to configure the static routing. You want to configure the dynamic routing like BGP, OSPF, RIP, and multicast event. This all is going to part of this virtual router. Let me show you. So whenever you're going to purchase any firewall, by default, you are going to get one of the router. That is a virtual router. You go here in the network and see the virtual router. This is the default virtual router. So this is the similar to the VRF. Means what is the VRF? Let's suppose I have one of the physical router. And by default, we have the one routing table in this particular router. And that is known as the global routing table. This is my router. And if I want to split this routing table into the multiple routing instance, so we have to use the concept that is known as the VRF, that is known as the virtual routing forwarding, right? So still you have the global routing table, but you can create the routing table 1, RT2, RT3, and RT4, and so on. So this routing, let's suppose I have something here on this particular routing table, it will never going to share with this particular routing table from this router. If you want to do that, you have to do some kind of the other like configuration. So this is how VRF is going to means a virtual instance is going to be happen, and every virtual instance have the different kind of the concept. Similar in the Palo Alto Firewall also, we have the one default virtual router which is going to handle the routing. But if you want to create a more routing table, right, in Palo Alto Firewall, that means technically more virtual router, then you can create that. But how you can create that, it totally depends on the firewall models. So in this firewall model, let's suppose I have the one virtual router that is handling right now all the traffic, but I want to create the another virtual router. And let me just put this is the virtual router. So you can see I just created, this is done. If I go and create like lab virtual router, lab router, it is not creating, means it is showing that the maximum number of router it is reached. So who is deciding how many virtual router I can create in the firewalls? So it's totally depend on your firewall models. So let me show you. So if we have the very small firewalls, right, like physical firewall 220, you can create maximum 3 virtual routers, not more than that. But if we have the 820, you can create the 5 virtual routers. If you go here, you can create up to 10 virtual router. You go more, you can create up to 225 virtual router. So this is again 225 virtual router. So right now I have this VM. This is just going to allow 2 virtual router. But let me go and check in this particular latest firewall. So if I'm going here in the virtual router, see, I have this one VM, one virtual router. Let me create more. So let me create the unit router. This is created. 2 created. Let me add one more. And let me see here, test router. This is done. 3 created. Let me try one more, lab router. 4 created. So this firewall having the more like, so this is latest firewall, latest capability. So it is giving the more option to create router. So totally depend on the capabilities of. So see, this is also VM. This is also VM, but this is the latest one VM. So this having the more features. So I have to just go and read the data set, how many virtual router I can create. So I have just go on this particular VM model, and this is the, where is the VM model? You can see software version here, and we have this VM, right? So PAVM, and I have to check like if I have this particular version, how many router I can create that. So you can see it is allowing the multiple virtual routers. Even let me just create one more. Let me see.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is also allowing, but this is just allowing 2 only. If I use the 10.0, it will just allow 3 virtual routers. Because I have the 10.0 also, it is just 3 virtual routers. Yes, Muthu? Muthu, you asking something?
No, nothing.
Okay. Okay, so now what next? So the next is we can create the multiple virtual routers, and in these virtual routers have the different kind of the routing engine. So anything I'm doing on this particular virtual router, it is not by default going to interference with the default virtual router. So every router is going to act as a separate routing engine. So you just want to go on Google and want to learn what is the Palo Alto virtual router. So you will find the same definition what I just explained it. Here. So the firewall use the virtual router to obtain the layer 3 route and other subnet by you manually defining the static route through the particular or in or one or more layer 3 routing protocol dynamic routing. So whatever I just explain, you guys can reach out, means read out these particular articles or maybe Google it. It's going to same meaning. And we can do the all routing, any layer 3 interface configuration, any VLAN configuration we have, we just have to do via the virtual routing only. So I hope you guys understand about the virtual routing. We'll later see how this more is going to be configured in the BGP OSPF, and we'll do some lab as well. But I believe that's all from my side for the virtual routing point of view. So what we have done today, let me just summarize. So we discussed about the security zone. We discussed about the layer 2 deployment. And in this, we have discussed two topics, means layer 2 means complete VLAN only. And also been done with the Inter-vlan. Okay. We discuss about the how to create a sub interface, and we discuss about the DHCP, where we just create two functions. One the DHCP server as a firewall, and one is the relay also firewall. And then we'll discuss about the virtual routers. We have also discussed the layer 3 interface, how it is going to configure. We left with the virtual wire and tap mode. We'll discuss in the next class. Okay, guys, tell me any question you have if you have.
Actually, I am having question from the old classes.
Yet, please ask. Please ask.
In your previous videos, as you said that difference between the next generation firewall and the proxy firewall. So in that you told that thing is that nowadays like Zscaler, it is also accommodated with most of the features of the next generation firewall.
Right.
So my question is that, so why can't I place the Zscaler instead of Palo Alto or FortiGate? Like,
Definitely, you can do that. That's why Zscaler having the main goal to replace the all like perimeters firewall, like the Palo Alto and FortiGate anything. So if you don't want to use, you can simply go in the Zscaler solution, and it will just give the equal security. There
but
is
you
no
were saying something about the layer 2 limitation
So only
of
problem we
Zscaler.
have, let's suppose you want to do some restrictions on the your data center, your internal network point of view, right?
Okay.
Then that traffic always going to process via your, let's suppose you're working from the offices, right? And you want to do restriction based on the office, based on the internal network. Then Zscaler, like again having the feature, we can use the like remote access VPN, like similar with GPA. But that is not recommended. If I am sitting in my LAN network and still I'm going to use GPA, so that's not a good idea. So you just have to use the LAN network, and based on the LAN network, we can filter the traffic with the help of the firewall. So in that scenario, firewall is more powerful. And even let's suppose we have the workload sitting in the data center, means our servers are sitting on the data center, and we want to restrict some communication. So you cannot send all server to the Zscaler to just go first, and then they will enforce the policy to access the internet or the internal network like that. So in that scenario, we can use the firewall. So firewall is still is relevant, but most of the scenario you can avoid the firewall usage, and you go for the SASE. So that's why everyone is talking about the SASE. Why Palo Alto is talking about the SASE? Because Palo Alto, even they offering the firewall, but if you don't want to use the Palo Alto firewall, you want to leverage the SASE solution, then you just connect your routers and send their traffic to the network. But they also have the GP Global Protect for the remote access region. For that, they require the Palo Alto Firewall and Panorama or the cloud managers, right? So they have some sort of the same features, but still firewall is relevant, and still firewall is going to be relevant in future as well, where we are talking about more in the office network, more in data center network, or might with the any kind of server scenario we are going to host it in the public and private cloud. But when you talk about any SaaS application traffic, any cloud application traffic, that is absolutely going to be SaaS or Azure, AWS, or a web traffic internet, then your proxy is more powerful. It's very cost effective. It is going to save a lot cost. Okay, Sayed?
Okay. And one more thing,
Mhm.
you're talking about the DLP feature in the firewall. Do we
Yeah,
have
DLP we
this
have.
This DLP is like a data leak protection solution,
Data link
or
protection solution, not for the endpoint. There is
okay,
one endpoint data link solution. Another is you are just exchanging any data over the internet or intranet. That if it is going to proceed with the firewall, then firewall is going to stop. But let's suppose you have the PC you want to disable from USB port, not someone is
okay,
going to copy. This is complete different DLP solution.
okay,
It's something transient data. Means you're
okay.
sending from source to destination, then it is going to come in picture.
And the next thing is that in the physical firewall,
Hmm.
when you were showing the ports, there were two HA ports. So why we need two HA ports in that?
So I will discuss Sayed when we'll cover this HA. So
Okay,
there is a special role of the HA. One is going to be act as the control port, even in the HA lab. Let me show you. Let me first stop this.
it's okay if you are going to
I'll
explain that in
let
the
me
future.
if you ask then. So we always require two HA port. One port is always going to act as the HA1
Mhm.
and one is the HA2. This is your control link and this is your data link. So we'll discuss what is the control link, what is data link. One of the third port is the HA3. This is just for use in the active scenario, and this is just going to avoid any asymmetric routing and all. So we'll discuss in detail about this HA and you're going to understand. Okay, say
Okay.
any other question?
Yes, actually, after the course is completed,
Mhm.
till how many days this video classes will be available for us?
It's a
Because
lifetime. It's lifetime.
it will be lifetime. Because I was not able to download any video for
No
my
problem, no problem. It's lifetime. You always going to be happen. No need to worry about that.
Okay, sir.
No.
That's the thing.
Even if you even want to repeat next 1 or 2 year, you don't have to worry. You just let us know. You can repeat the sessions in a live class also.
Okay, thanks for that.
All right, guys. So let's
Sir,
connect.
sir, sir, 1 minute, sir.
Yes, please, Muthu.
Uh, why does why Fortinet is no today's market Fortinet has more value, sir?
Because such a lower cost. That's the only reason.
Oh,
They have the great feature with the lower cost. That's the reason FortiGate have the more demand nowadays. But you don't forget, FortiGate and Palo Alto always going to be competitive to each other. So sometime Palo Alto is going to top, sometime FortiGate, but they have the equal kind of the market base. But FortiGate is getting more edge because they have the lower pricing. Palo Alto is quite costly. That's the reason. Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Okay. So wish you all the best. Happy weekend. See you again next class on the Monday. Okay, guys.
Monday or Tuesday?
Oh, Tuesday. Sorry.